Also tonight, music mogul Sean Diddy Combs accused of sex trafficking and sexual assault in a lawsuit filed in federal court here in New York.
New lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs, bringing some serious claims against the music mogul, brought by his former longtime girlfriend.
Puffy might be the destination for anybody going nowhere. Nobody survived.
Diddy's troubles are not about to go anywhere anytime soon, because even if there was any plan for a soft landing, 50 Cent won't let him. 50 is out for blood, and he just recently revealed how Diddy abused Cassie in an exclusive video that everyone had forgotten even existed. But you can't blame 50. Brother Love has been digging his own grave for years. His history of abuse would fill a spreadsheet from the White House down to Connecticut. And in this video, we'll be breaking down every last bit of it. What is this video that 50 has that could end Diddy? Why are the odds stacked so high against Brother Love? And is there a way he could come out of this a free man? Let's find out. Cassie.
What a beautiful dress.
Thank you so much.
I wanted to ask you, can't wait to see 3 a.m.
Yes.
The controversy.
Yeah.
How can we get a tape of this?
Oh, I'm going to send it to you. I will email it to you.
Email me the
Yes.
whole thing.
Yes,
I love
yes,
it. I love that you constantly crushing the glass ceiling, or crushing the black ceiling.
If you know the context of this video, if you know what the 3 a.m. video is, and what Diddy was promising to email to Andre, you will know that Cassie literally escaped a nightmare when she left him. And it's interesting because this entire section is about the videos and sex tapes that Diddy sent. And the 3 a.m. video was basically an extension of all that. But that's a wild claim to make. So what's the proof? More specifically, what proof would someone like 50 Cent have that would quite probably have ended Diddy if he allowed Cassie to take him to trial? It's an interesting question that will take us down memory lane if you were in tune with the times back in the early 90s. I'm talking 1991, and this ain't even about Cassie, because we're about to chart out a very toxic element of Diddy's incredibly toxic persona. The woman in question was some lady named Joy Dickerson Neal, and her claim against Diddy came while she was in college and when he was still a talent agent. This was before Bad Boy Records was even a thing, before Diddy got his autonomy. So she says that she had gone on a date with him, and that while they was on that date, Diddy had spiked her drink. She knows this because when he drove her to his music studio, she couldn't walk. And it was during all of that, he made a move on her and assaulted her. But hey, wait, remember, this is a video about videos and sex tapes, because it turns out that Diddy not only committed assault on her, he filmed it, and then he sent it to 2 of his homies. How does she know this, you ask? Well, because Devontae Swing, member of the R&B group Jodeci, told her. This is not hearsay. This shit is documented, and the individuals that said these things are alive and haven't gone back on their statements. And hey, if this sounds new to you and you're wondering why the lady didn't go to the police with it when it happened, well, her reason was simple: shame and the fear that she would lose out or win a record deal that Diddy promised her. Now draw that same link through the 90s, through the creation of Bad Boy, its rise, dominance, and eventually leading up to Cassie. The common denominator is Diddy using promises of record deals to control the artiste, mostly female, that he wanted to assault. That's why he gave Cassie a 10-year album deal from the jump. It was unheard of at the time. I mean, I have nothing against the lady, but she wasn't much of a singer, and that's being generous. She couldn't write shit. She could dance, but it wasn't anything special. But she was fine as hell, and that's all Diddy cared about. Diddy wanted her, so he did the most diabolical shit he could to get her. And when he had her, to keep her, Diddy resorted to blackmail. Before we get to what 50 heard and saw, let's talk about what Cassie said in her lawsuit. Now, in the lawsuit, Cassie stated clearly that Diddy had forced her to have sex with male escorts while he watched and jacked off to it.
That girl went through some tumultuous shit that she never thought that she would ever have to go through being in the music business. Do you understand that?
But it gets even worse because Diddy forced Cassie to find the male hookers herself. And before she would sleep with them, he drugged her. And finally, like he had done to the lady from college, filmed all of it. My mother always told me many people won't tell the same lie all the time. So for the Diddy apologists out there, what's up? How do y'all explain this? And before you answer, know that there's more. Because those tapes that Diddy shot were used as collateral. Really, it was blackmail material. Anytime she threatened to leave, he threatened to send it out. And eventually, he did. Because in 2010, during a radio interview with DJ Woo Kid on Shade 45, 50 Cent would talk about a similar tape that he saw that made him call Diddy's relationship with Cassie into question. At first, 50 wasn't even aware that Diddy knew the pictures existed because they were sent to his personal phone from an unknown source. And they were nasty, very nasty. In his own words, they were not the shit that y'all saw. Worse, way worse, like penetration pictures. Now, when you think of who 50 is and how short the list of people who would have direct contact to his personal number, then you know it was either Diddy or someone close to Diddy that sent it to him. But like I said before, Diddy didn't know that. In fact, he immediately called Diddy to inform him about it.
You fucking with this girl, like you really, like you like her like that? And he was like, yeah, that's my girl. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna send you something. You look at it, you call me back.
So 50 Cent sent him the pictures, and Diddy called back saying that the images had been obtained by his guys and that it was a mistake or something like that. But 50, who already knew the type of nigga that Diddy was, knew that that wasn't the case. Diddy had taken those images as collateral for Cassie. It was his way of keeping her his girl, and that was probably the moment where 50's total disregard for Diddy began. The beginning of it all was the shopping incident.
Then he was like, so when we gonna get the chance to, to kick it, like we could just hang out. And he was like, why don't we like go shopping? I mean, like I pay for it. And I was like, what this just saying?
Because you can bet as hell that if it was Rick Ross he had seen that shit about, he wouldn't have cared. I mean, 50 Cent had used sex tapes against Rick Ross, so the fact was 50 could see that the girl was in danger. He could see that Diddy's relationship with Cassie was worse than a sham. It was the most destructive thing ever. And the images he sent to Diddy for confirmation was all the proof he needed. But there had always been signs. Signs that Diddy himself would post on IG for the world to see. Like that time Cassie was hiding under the sheets to escape Diddy.
What you gotta say now? What you gotta say now? You ain't got shit to say.
True, you could argue that nothing here proves or shows any proof of abuse. But if you'd known what Diddy did to the lover he had before Cassie, if you knew what he did to the mother of his children, if you were aware of what he did to Kim Porter, you wouldn't be questioning the context of that IG video. You would know that Diddy was the most manipulative, diabolical type of serial abuser. Kim Porter.
Hey, what's up, y'all? We interrupt your browsing for this emergency announcement. This is my girl, Kim, my lovely girlfriend, KP, Kim Porter.
Let me paint the picture for you. The year is 2005, and by this time, Diddy and Kim Porter had been for more than 10 years. Well, technically, they had been, like she said, in an on and off relationship for more than a decade. During one of those momentary periods they were together, Diddy heard a rumor. The rumor was that Kim had gotten into a relationship with a colleague of Diddy in the industry. So Diddy lured her to St. Tropez, rented a yacht, and led Kim on with the idea they were about to have a good time. That was not the case. Bodyguards would report hearing loud arguments from 2 a.m. By 7 a.m., it devolved into a beatdown. In the aftermath of it all, Diddy had beaten Kim so bad he broke her nose. So Diddy flew in a specialist surgeon from Geneva to repair her nose and keep her out of the public eye until it had healed enough. But it gets crazier, because if you tried searching for this story online, you would find absolutely nothing. Articles like The Sun that ran the story suddenly no longer have the story. And images of Kim from that time that had the model with a bandage on her nose have almost been completely wiped off the internet. This is just one of the last surviving images. My theory, Diddy went to great lengths to clean his digital footprint to ensure that there was no trace, because when it happened in 2005, it was a big deal, and he knew he fucked up. But hey, you don't have to take my word or the word of some newspaper. Gene Deal also spoke on it.
Then you hear about the fact that he broke Kim's nose on a yacht?
Wow, I ain't hear about that.
He broke Kim, let's say allegedly, but it was told by people in her camp that he broke Kim's nose on a yacht.
The former Bad Boy artist Mark Curry would say the exact same thing. He says he witnessed the crazy relationship that Kim had with Diddy, how he beat her repeatedly, and how she suffered a lot more in his hands. When the Art of Dialogue would ask him if Diddy had broken Kim's nose, this was his response.
Speaking of Kim Porter, because you knew Kim Porter, is it true that Diddy broke her nose?
Bust the nose, man.
Many of the Diddy apologists have said that Mark is only talking shit about Diddy because of their fight over publishing rights. Well, my answer to that is simple. There is no one who has worked with Diddy that didn't have issues over publishing at some point. And if you've been following this story up until this point, then you've already noticed the pattern. Because just like he did to Cassie, Diddy would also wiretap Kim Porter's phone. Mark Curry would even say, anytime a man would go out his way to wiretap someone's phone or put taps in their homes just to monitor their conversations, that's a sign of insanity. And it's not just Kim and Cassie. Misa Hilton has also suffered violence at the hands of Diddy. Misa is the mother of Diddy's oldest son, Justin. But it gets wilder because Mark would also claim that when Diddy hosted parties, he had separate drinks for his female guests. These bottles were infused with substances that made them real slippery. If the music industry was a person, it would be Diddy. Because just when you think the rot is deep, Diddy surprises you by going even lower. And that's why Gene insists that Kim's story is Cassie's story. The latter just got a happy ending while the former died. But there's nuance here. And what I'm about to say is incredibly sensitive, but it needs to be said. Sometimes there's no helping the abused because they are drawn in too deep and make excuses for their abusers. Point in case, after the nose busting incident, when she was asked what happened to her nose, she would respond that she mistakenly smashed it into a table. But hey, maybe it was true. And maybe she wasn't actually covering for Diddy's abuse on her. But then, let's fast forward 2 years to 2007. Kim was pregnant with their 2 girls when she caught Diddy cheating on her. She called things off after that incident, but in the interview she gave, it sounded like she was trying to make him feel sorry for cheating on on her and not actually taking the responsibility to move on from an abuser who unfortunately was the father of her